Good afternoon, YouTube. Today we're going to do the battle of the muriatic acids. I bought the lightest percentage or the weakest from Lowe's. This is about 21% muriatic acid. It's low odor, not really powerful. From my local construction store, I got this. This is 31.45. I just called it, 31.5. And then online I ordered this, and this was the most powerful that I could find at 37%. And what we're going to be doing today is I've got 3 tubes set up, each one with the according percentage of muriatic acid. And we're going to be dipping these gas tank straps. As you can see, they're not in good shape. This one's actually the worst out of the 3. Probably not going to use this one, so I'm going to put this into the strongest just to see how it does. And then we're going to go over some of the other things that I've dipped into the muriatic acid. Once I get through with this, you can see this hitch, this front fender, and you can see in here how badly pitted, and that's the reason why I wanted to dip this in there, is to try to get into this groove that you wouldn't be able to get into with a wire brush and get this rust out of there and let the muriatic acid, kind of do its job. You can see it's really badly pitted here. So let's get started. I have exactly 1 gallon into each one of these tubes. Each one holds exactly 1 gallon. So I'm going to put in 1 cup into each gallon and let this, get the camera set up here. Sorry about that. Jesus. Also, pulled my rims out, my turbine wheels that are going on the 79 Ford. See how they looked in the sun. But anyway, now, one thing, FYI, if you're using your girlfriend or your wife's measuring cup, and it's a fancy type that's got the 1 cup, 2 cup painted on the side, don't use this onto it because it will take that measurements and just corrode them so that you can't read it anymore. And that will really, if you get a girlfriend or a wife, that'll make them mad. So what I'm using is just a mason jar. It's got the 1 cup, 2 cup, 3 cup. I'm just putting 1 cup, so we're doing 1 cup per gallon. One cup right there. This tube, of course, is a 37%. Oof. And this stuff is strong. 2. Oof. I've got gloves on. You may actually want to put, I'm outdoors, but you may want to use a respirator with that stuff. Okay, now we're doing the 31.5%. Definitely not as strong. This muriatic acid is definitely not as strong as that one. That one was smoking. But I don't know if you can see it, but where I spilled a little bit on this tailgate, it is starting to etch that rust. I'm doing a gallon of the low odor, weakest at 20%. And then we're going to take these, put a wire onto them just to kind of hold them. like I said, this one's in really bad shape. I don't know if the camera will pick up on it, but it's filled up solid with rust in there. Pretty badly pitted. So, drop that one down in. This one's not terribly bad. So probably gonna, it's still probably the second worst out of the one. And this one's a third. This one's actually in pretty decent shape. Now, one of the reasons I'm doing it is because you can't get in here and clean. So this will hopefully eat all of this out of here. Also, this is going to be a two-part video because this stuff is going to have to sit for a couple days. I'm going to do this into a two-part, two-part thing. I'm going to let it sit. Now, when I originally started this, I had a half a gallon of this type right here, and I messed around with it, experimented a little bit with it, and what I ended up doing was using a half gallon per 10 gallons of water, and that's what you see here. As you can see what it's done in here, and it's actually done a pretty decent job. This, where it's gray up in there, is paint, but with a little bit of wire brushing, hopefully this shows up on the camera, but with a little bit of wire brushing, that paint will just flake and come right off of there like that. So it actually does a pretty good job. I don't know if you can see it, but I actually put a hole completely through the metal there where it was badly pitted. But this was in pretty bad shape. Now this is sat in there for approximately 3 days. This fender, I have not taken this fender out, but this fender has sat in there for approximately a day and a half. I don't know if you can see it, but the paint's coming off. The rust is coming off. It actually did a pretty good job. Now, it has made some pinholes through there that weren't there before. Yes, by getting rid of the rust, it's created holes. And then the big one is, of course, this hitch here. And I have not taken this out. I'm going to set the camera up here. Hopefully you can see this, but now it has really, I know you can't see that. It has really gotten rid of this pitting and really clean this up nice. Now there's still a rust blister right there, but a little bit of work with the wire brush should take care of that. Now, my ultimate goal, of course, is to do like the battery tray, and I want to set up a large area. Something that I could probably even set the bottom of a cab into, or like the bottom, this is the bottom of a tailgate. The guy told me this tailgate was in near perfect condition, and after I cleaned it all up, it was not. I ended up cutting that out, and building another piece and replacing it. So, considerations to keep in mind when you're doing something like this. Temperature matters. You want to have at least 65 degrees. When I first started this at 50 degrees outdoor temperature, it did not do anything. And in fact, today we have about a 65 degree day. So it's actually bubbling and it's doing a pretty decent job at cleaning off the rust. But up until today, it was not doing anything. Other consideration you've got to make is you've got to neutralize it. Now, I'm going to show that on another video, how I neutralize it. There's really a couple different ways. There's a gentleman that uses a citric acid to neutralize it, and that probably would work fairly well. Another way to do it is with heat, with a torch. You can get it hot, you can burn off basically the acid. And then the third way, which is the way I'm going to show you how to do it when we do these tubes, is, there's Poe. When we do these tubes, is use water to neutralize it, and then use Eastwood's etching, light etching solvent to neutralize it. That, along with some metal prep or some paint thinner, that will neutralize it, so that when you paint it, you don't have to worry about the acid continuing to eat the metal and then bubbling the paint off. That'll be it for this video. We'll be back tomorrow with part 2 on how these come out. Like I said, it would be tomorrow afternoon, late, and let you know how each one of these acids compared.